Good evening and welcome to the Kutztown University Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony. My name is Tyler Trumbauer, class of 2017, and your MC for this evening's program. Tonight, we have the honor to welcome 7 new members as the 42nd annual Hall of Fame class here at Kutztown University. We would like to take this time to start off tonight to recognize some of the committee members that selected this year's induction class that are here in attendance with us this evening. Jack Entrikin, at-large representative, KU athletic trainer. Matt Heffelfinger, KU Sports Information Director. Renee Heller, Director of Athletics. Josh Lieboff, at-large representative, Assistant Director of University Relations for Web Content. Mary Neuenschwander, Director of Alumni Relations. Jennifer Rush, KU Hall of Fame inductee class of 2010. Brian Salvador, the committee's chair and the Director of Communications, and Amanda Schaefer, the Director of Athletic Advancement. Thank you all for your time and commitment to the KU Athletics Hall of Fame. We also would like to take some time to recognize some of the VIPs with us in attendance today. I did not make this list. Kutztown University President Dr. Kenneth S. Hawkinson and his wife Anne Marie Hayes Hawkinson. Mr. Alex Ojika, Executive Director of the KU Foundation. Mr. Matt Santos, the Vice President for University Relations and Athletics. Thank you for being here this evening. We are here tonight, all of us, to celebrate the careers of 7 of the greatest Golden Bears of all time. Our 7 honorees tonight include Justine Baer Redding, a 3-time All-America field hockey player. Chelsea Deeter Lovelace, the first All-American in KU women's soccer history. Bobby Eberhart, a 1,000-point scorer with the men's basketball team. Darren Gorski, an All-American and PSAC Pitcher of the Year. Ziad Haddad, a 2-time national champion in wrestling. Kayla Jones, a National Bowler of the Year and KU's first Bowling Hall of Famer. And Charlie Young, a leader for the KU basketball and tennis programs. In addition to those 7 inductees, tonight we will award our 2nd annual recipients of the Kutztown University Athletics Legacy Award. Those individuals are Dr. Carol Teske and the late Margaret Frances Rothermel-Kantner. To begin tonight's program, at this time, I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Kenneth S. Hawkinson, President of Kutztown University.
Thanks so much, and welcome home to Kutztown University. We are pleased to be back on campus for our traditional Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony after a 1-year hiatus. Even though we have a slightly revised program tonight due to the ongoing challenges of the pandemic, it is so good to be back in person and to celebrate the great accomplishments of our Hall of Famers. Our strong tradition of success in athletics has been showcased as a point of pride for our university. And this fall, our teams have led the way in bringing great excitement to our campus. In particular, our football team won its 2nd consecutive PSAC East title, is nationally ranked, and is preparing for the state championship game tomorrow, right here at our own Andre Reed Stadium against PSAC West champion Slippery Rock. Kickoff is set for noon. Coach Clemens and our guys will need our full support as we try to bring home our 2nd PSAC championship in team history. Our women's soccer team finished with a school record, 17 regular season wins, and advanced to the PSAC playoffs this week. We are awaiting news Monday on a berth to the NCAA Championship Tournament. I should also mention that last spring, when our athletic teams returned to play after a one-year hiatus, our softball team was a huge highlight for our campus, winning the PSAC East and hosting the conference and NCAA playoffs, while head coach Judy Laws reached the incredible milestone of recording her 1,000th coaching victory. Exciting times here at KU, and I know that there are many more to come. As strong as our teams have performed on the field, I've been extremely proud of our student athletes' dedication and success in the classroom. We continue to set school records, even through the pandemic, for our number of scholar athletes. Our student athletes and athletic teams embody our brand. They are prime examples of the type of student we have at KU. The type of student that doesn't look for flash, but validation. The type of student who has grit and gives their all to achieve a goal, and after graduation, they continue to be a point of pride for our institution. We have more than 500 student athletes, over 22 sports, and our athletes excel on the playing venues and in the classroom, and thousands who have donned the maroon and gold through our 128-year athletic history. But only a select few, Golden Bears, get to experience this ultimate athletic honor granted by our institution to finish as KU Athletics Hall of Famers. So to our 7 inductees of the 42nd Annual Induction Class, Justine, Chelsea, Bobby, Darin, Ziad, Kayla, and Charlie, this will certainly be a day to cherish and celebrate with friends, family, teammates, and coaches, and one that you will always remember. My congratulations to the families of Margie Kantner and to Dr. Carol Teske, both pioneers of women's athletics, on being selected for the Kutztown University Athletics Legacy Award. We owe both of these ladies for paving the way for our athletic program today. I am honored to celebrate with you all tonight, and on behalf of Kutztown University, I congratulate you and thank you all for all you have done for our athletic program and for Kutztown University. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkinson. At this time, we would like to introduce the Hall of Fame members that are here with us this evening. We ask that you please stand when your name is read. Tony Didyoung, class of 1995, soccer. Lee Hill, class of 1995, soccer. Shane Mosley Spingler, class of 1999, field hockey and women's swimming. Jennifer Rush, class of 2010, field hockey. Betty Westner, class of 2018, field hockey. And Sylvia Wolf, wife of the late Hall of Famer Dr. Bob Wolf, class of 1982, football. Thank you all for being here with us this evening. The Kutztown University Athletics Legacy Award was established in 2019 to recognize individuals who have made a significant contribution to the KU Athletic Department and the university through their time, dedication, commitment, philanthropy, and/or general support. Honorees may be nominated by the public and the Golden Bear community, as well as the selection committee. The selection committee consists of KU's Vice President for Athletics, Executive Director of the Kutztown University Foundation, Hall of Fame Committee Chair, Athletic Director, Director of Athletic Advancement, and a representative from the Alumni Relations staff here at Kutztown University. Dr. Carol Teske was dedicated to the university's success both athletically and academically. She became the first female head coach for then Kutztown State College in 1969, guiding the field hockey program for 4 seasons through 1972. Following her time as coach, Carol moved into athletics administration and served as women's athletic director for the department. She promoted women's athletics and served as an advocate for peers, coaches, and student athletes. Carol also served on and chaired numerous committees, working hard to implement positive changes within KU athletics. She approved and promoted the Golden Baer women's programs through travel and experience new competitive venues, including a basketball trip to Minnesota, and helped pioneer softball's annual spring break trip. In addition to her coaching and administrative duties at KU, Carol served as an associate professor and chair of the Department of Health, Physical Education, and Dance. While chair, she was a visionary in looking toward the future and led the department in developing a new major in leisure and sports studies, now called Sport Management and Leadership Studies. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of tonight's award this evening is Renee Heller, Director of Athletics. Congratulations to our first 2021 recipient of the Kutztown University Athletics Legacy Award, Dr. Carol Teske.
I'd like to accept this award to honor all of the administrators, coaches, and student athletes who have been a part of KU sports since 1969. Although my interests in all things related to health and athletics, my other great love is history. So bear with me while I review some of the women's sport history at KU. A popular phrase of the 70s and 80s, particularly relevant for today's women athletes. Looking back on women's sports since 1969, I remember girls' basketball being played with 6 players. The original game had 9 players on 3 separate courts, 3 on each side of the court. You were only allowed 2 bounces on the dribble, and then you had to pass the ball or shoot. Guards were on one side while the forwards were on the other. Neither was allowed to cross the center line. For a period of several years, there were 2 players designated as rovers, and they could, run back and forth. Finally, in the early 70s, the game moved to where it should have been all the time, 5 people, full court. Obviously, today's game is quite different. It is fast-paced and physical. Women even instituted the 30-second clock before the men's teams did. Women's collegiate sports were engaged in the past in round-robin play days as their predominant form of competition. Thanks to the efforts of Dr. Ann Gundry, field hockey became the first women's sport at KU. Then along came Title IX in 1972, which dramatically affected women's sports on the collegiate level. The road forward was not easy. There were many bumps. There were issues such as funding, facilities, and number of sports. For instance, in 1969, the field hockey team was allowed to use the field only 2 days a week. They had to share the other 3 days with men's intramural activities. Uniforms were ordered for only 11 players. 11 players are on a hockey team. So when someone was injured, and this did happen one time, we made a circle around them. They had to remove their team shirt and give it to the substitute so the substitute could come in and play. Finally, Title IX impetus also aided in the development of a women's national playoff system. Under the auspices of the Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women formerly known as AIAW. Eventually, that was taken over by NC2A tournament format with coverage by ESPN and other media. Those of you who know me know I could go on and on and on, and the three young women who I spoke with this summer should know that, because I'm sure they were thinking, well, we'll talk for 10 minutes and then she'll leave. It was well over a half an hour when I finally noticed them starting to sag in their seats and decided to call it over. In closing, the popular phrase I alluded to in the beginning was originally developed in 1969 as a slogan to promote Virginia Slims cigarettes. It caught on and became popular with some women's organizations. The phrase, "You've come a long way, baby," certainly applies to women's athletics today. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Margaret Frances Rothermel-Kantner served as the first head coach for 3 Kutztown State College women's athletic programs: basketball, volleyball, and tennis. She was also a professor of health and physical education at Kutztown for 35 years. Margaret's coaching career at the university began in 1971 at the helm of the women's basketball team. Kutztown enjoyed immediate success under her tutelage, winning the first 7 games and finishing 7-1 in its inaugural varsity season, and following that up with a 10-1 season in 1972. Following her time with the basketball team, Margaret started the women's volleyball program at Kutztown State in 1974. The Golden Bears registered a perfect 7-0 record in their first season, and Margaret had winning records in each of her 4 seasons with the program. In 1975, Margaret started the school's women's tennis team. Between 1975 and 1978, she coached the tennis and volleyball teams simultaneously. Margaret, a professor at Kutztown, taught archery, swimming, juggling, aerobics, and health education. She passed away in August 2020 at the age of 86. With us tonight, and accepting the award on Margaret's behalf, is her son, David. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of tonight's award this evening is Renee Heller, Director of Athletics here at KU. Congratulations to our second 2021 recipient of the Kutztown University Athletics Legacy Award, Margaret Frances Rothermel-Kantner.
Good evening. I want to thank Renee, President Hawkinson, Jack, Matt, Josh, Mary, Brian, Jennifer, and Amanda for all their help in honoring the legacy of women's sports at Kutztown University. President Franklin Roosevelt said, "The more you know about the past, the better prepared you are for the future." And as Dr. Teske said, women's sports has come a long way, baby. And these 2 women helped together. Women in sports is a great thing for everyone. And this audience knows that you will miss 100% of the shots you do not take. And thank goodness Dr. Teske and my mother, Margie Kantner, took those shots, and they succeeded successfully for the future of women's sports here at KU. My mother would be very honored to know that her efforts for women, students, and athletes are recognized, and she's a co-recipient with Dr. Teske. Dr. Teske worked with my mother, she helped my mother, and they were a great team together. Kutztown State College, as it was known years ago, gave my mother and my family all it had. And in return, my mother gave all she had as well. And speaking of family, her family We all flew in from Texas, and if we just stand, because we all flew in to honor my mother's legacy, I've got my wife, Jessica, James, Keith, and my grandson, Jaden. And she would be very proud. And if you see that little boy right there at 3.5 years old, that's how old I was when my mother's husband passed away. So she did all of this as a single mother to champion women's sports. My mother, in addition to thanking Dr. Teske, she would also thank her many colleagues, including Ann Gundry, including Dean Lenhart, and all of the others. She would congratulate all of the Hall of Fame honorees tonight, because she would know your dedication, your passion for this university, your tireless hours of practicing to be the best and to be honored at an event like this tonight. And as destiny would have it, one of my varsity coaches from Fleetwood High, Charlie Young, is being honored tonight. Another blessing that we receive from Kutztown University as he coached us deep into the state championships. Certainly my mother would have thanked all of her student athletes, because after all, how can a leader succeed without the dedication, the passion that these women had to succeed and beat other teams and to go to practice and to play full court press, and they all showed winning spirit. I tell you, I never saw conflict. I saw in the behaviors of group behavior, storming, norming, and performing, I saw a lot of norming, a lot of performing, great feedback, camaraderie. I mean, when they were on the bus, you could hear it, a block away. They had chants and they were building up their energy to honor women's sports and to keep going. I would say too, all those women that my mom coached, as the president said, they are a point of pride for this university. And sometimes little things make big differences. And when my mom first came here and met with the president, Dr. Stratton, and she expressed a little concern being a widow. And he took her hand and he said, "Margie, you can do it." And let me tell you, little things can make a big difference, and we all want to be a part of that. Later, as my mom had success, and she was told that she was coaching, I could see her sitting at the table. There was no Google back then, right? She had to go back and look, and she had a brother too that was in sports, and she would draw up plays, what worked, what didn't. She did all of this, nights, and then come into practice. When Keystone Hall first opened, she saw that as an opportunity to again elevate women's sports, to have them play in the new field house, and play they did. And the rest is history, that they would always have their games in the new Keystone Hall alongside the great men's team. And so I saved the best for last as far as who my mom would thank. Because when Dr. Teske and my mom passed the torch, there were numerous coaches, students, administrators, and the whole KU institution that kept this legacy going and grew it to what it is today. And I wish the athletic programs and all those people carrying the torch forward to remember a lot of little things can add up to big success.
Our first Hall of Fame inductee this evening is Justine Baer Redding, class of 2002. Justine was a 3-time All-American, 2-time All-PSAC selection, and was named to KU's all-time field hockey team in 2018 as part of the program's 50-year celebration. The Berks County native graduated with a school record 32 assists and ranked 3rd in school history with 34 goals and 100 points. She still ranks in the top 10 in each of those categories. A testimonial from her former coach, KU Hall of Famer, Betty Wessner. She said, "Justine, today, because you chose Kutztown University to further your academics and athletics, and I might add, excelled in both, you became the 18th field hockey student athlete to be inducted into this prestigious Hall of Fame. As one of your fellow teammates, Sarah Wessner-Greer, says, you had the ability to make everyone around you look good. I knew that when I inserted the ball to you on a penalty corner, it would result in a goal or at least another called corner. You made playing this sport look so effortless. Congratulations on this award." After graduating summa cum laude, you worked for a short time at Carpenter Technology while substitute teaching for both the Hamburg and Fleetwood school districts. You coached field hockey on the high school level, and then the same year your daughter was born, you were offered a permanent position teaching 4th grade to Hamburg students. You met your husband, Jason, at Disney World while serving as attendants at your cousin's wedding. You returned back to Berks County dating, and on October 13th, 20 years ago, your senior year, you became Justine Redding. 5 years later, a daughter, Kayla, now 15, an athlete herself, playing both field hockey and softball at Hamburg High School. I want to personally congratulate you on your most recent 20 years of marriage, and thank you too for your great passion for teaching our young Americans, especially during these most trying times. Gosh, am I so glad to be retired. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of Justine's induction this evening into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is her former coach, Betty Wessner. Let's welcome into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame, Justine Baer Redding.
Thank you, Coach Wessner, for your thoughtful introduction and reflections. It is an absolute honor to have had such a wonderful coach. I still, to this day, speak about how influential you have been throughout my college career, in addition to my personal growth. You truly taught me, and made my time competing at our Kutztown field hockey team a truly meaningful and memorable experience. I cannot thank you enough for that. Since graduating from Kutztown, I've been an educator for the past 16 years, teaching 4th grade at my alma mater, Hamburg Area High School. This past week, I decided to take advantage of this opportunity, and I asked my students what it would mean to them to be a part of a Hall of Fame. The responses ranged from being, well, you have to be good at something, to a museum of awards and paintings, to being famous. After some great discussions, the class decided that the term Hall of Fame was to be defined as individuals that show an extreme amount of effort and growth in a positive way. That definition had me thinking why I would be getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Did I show an extreme amount of effort and growth during my time at KU? Did I represent myself in a positive way as a Golden Bear? I know that I can answer both of those questions with a resounding yes, but not without the leadership and support of my KU family. There are several reasons why I chose to attend Kutztown University, the main reasons being its proximity to my family and the small community feel I was accustomed to growing up and playing in the Hamburg Area School District. Coach Wessner and the faculty here instilled the feeling of family from the moment I stepped foot on campus. The atmosphere of smaller classes bolstered the student relationships, the opportunity for growth, as well as giving me a more personal interaction with my professors. All of these factors were so important to me, in addition to the academic and athletic opportunities. Being a part of the field hockey team was such a great opportunity, and most importantly, grew my KU family to include my teammates, their parents, and my coaches that developed me into the player I was. Many of those teammates and their families have become lifelong friends. Betty Wessner was not only my coach, but my college mom, who cared about me as a player just as much as who I was as a person. That support system of all my coaches and teammates gave me opportunities to play the game I love and help me be the best I could be. They helped me They helped me reach goals that I did not think were possible, and even bestowed me the great honor of being selected as one of the top 18 field hockey players to play at Kutztown since the program's inception over 50 years ago. I am so thankful, proud, and humbled by these honors. I cannot thank all of you enough for what you have done for me. So what does being inducted into the Hall of Fame mean to me? It means an induction into another Kutztown University family. Family has always been important to me and my athletic career. To this day, my parents and sisters always talk about no matter what stage of competition we were playing, elementary, high school, college, adult leagues, etc., the first people we looked for at our games were our parents. My parents traveled to Florida for the Field Hockey Festival in high school, North Carolina for field hockey camp, Massachusetts for college field hockey games, and so much more. They taught me the value and virtue of working hard, both academically and athletically. For all your sacrifices and support, I thank you. To my husband, Jason, you had no choice but to grow a love for the game of field hockey and to try to learn the rules. The amount of time you have spent around the game, you grew to love it as much as I have. Thank you for always supporting my passion for the game and continuing to push me to be the best mom, coach, and teacher I can be. To my daughter, Kayla, I almost made it. I love to watch your passion to compete in both field hockey and softball. I'm so happy to see you play the game, although it's not your favorite. But I do really enjoy that you embody all it takes to go far. Keep working hard to reach all your goals on and off the field. I hope one day you can be a part of such an amazing university and team and have these same experiences. I love you both. In closing, I'm very honored and humbled to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this evening and thankful for everyone who has supported me throughout my career. From a poster that was displayed here during the days when I played here, there was a quote on it, and it was very much a surprise to me because they had my picture on that same poster. And it said, "Success comes to those who stay focused on their goals." And I live by that to this day. Thank you.
Congratulations again. Our next inductee into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is Chelsea Deeter Lovelace, class of 2011. Chelsea helped elevate Kutztown women's soccer to new heights. A 4-time All-PSAC defender and 3-time All-Region selection, Chelsea became the first women's soccer All-American in school history. She started each of the 80 games she took the field for in her career and led the KU defense to 37 shutouts over her 4 years, which is a school record. Here's a testimonial from her former coach, Eric Bursty. Every successful team needs good players, but successful programs need players who have the ability to change cultures, elevate standards, and buy into a vision that they themselves have not created. At this level, and here at Kutztown University, good players are not hard to come by, but players who have the ability to rebuild an entire program's foundation and set them on a path to bigger and better things may only come around once in a decade, if we are lucky. I arrived at KU in March of 2007 with a very clear vision of where I wanted to bring the Kutztown University women's soccer program. The program I wanted to build needed players who could share a common goal, work outside their comfort zones, and be held accountable to the highest standards possible. My vision was to elevate KU women's soccer into the national spotlight, produce teams that would consistently be featured in the national rankings, and would provide an environment where our players would have the opportunity to compete both in the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference and the NCAA tournaments on a routine basis. When I walked into my first team meeting with the players at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning in March, Chelsea was a person that stood out immediately. Her extremely intense look made me both excited and fearful for my life. Throughout the meeting, she just sat staring at me with tremendous intensity, never cracking a smile, laughing at one of my jokes, which he says are always funny, or blinking her eyes. In truth, I was terrified of her. The very next day, my first training sessions with the team, it became apparent that Chelsea was different from the other players in the program. She had an impressive presence throughout the session, a razor-sharp focus, and a competitive drive like nothing I had ever seen before in my young coaching career. Everything she did was at a level far beyond her teammates and commanded attention and respect. It wasn't until my first competitive season that I saw exactly how important Chelsea Deeter would be to our program, how influential she would become in helping build the very program I had envisioned when I was hired at KU in 2007. Chelsea is an absolute winner, and she only wanted to be around winners. She put high demands on her teammates, held everyone accountable for high quality and intense focus, always took care of the finest details, and she never accepted mediocrity from anyone who represented our women's soccer family. She played through a painful injury, especially during her senior year, but never once held herself less accountable for the standards and expectations she placed on her teammates, and she always maintained a laser-sharp focus on the job that needed to be done, both on and off the field. Chelsea played her entire career here at KU with the same intense look she had during our first meeting, cracking a smile every once in a while, never getting complacent, almost always looking angry and intensely focused on achieving something special. Hopefully today, in this moment, we get to see her crack another smile as she is inducted into the Kutztown University Athletics Hall of Fame, is recognized as one of the best women's soccer players in program history, and understands that her intensity, commitment, dedication, and fierce competitiveness is the foundation that has built one of the best Division II women's soccer programs in the country. Our program has been changed forever because of the athlete and the person Chelsea Deeter is, a true Kutztown University women's soccer legend. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of Chelsea's induction this evening into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is her former coach, the one who just had that testimonial, head coach Eric Bursty of the KU women's soccer program. Let's welcome into the KU Athletic Hall of Fame, Chelsea Deeter Lovelace.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to start off by saying congratulations to the two legends, the legacy winners, and the 6 other Hall of Fame inductees. Being selected is not an easy task that takes a lot of time, hard work, and dedication. You should all be very proud of yourselves. For me, it's surreal to be standing here accepting a Hall of Fame award for a sport that I almost gave up on. About 15 years ago, I was riding in the car with my dad and my older brother, Trevor. We were driving to my little sister's swim meet when all of a sudden my brother asked a question I absolutely dreaded talking about. He said, "So Chelsea, do you think you're going to play soccer in college?" I say dreaded because I was at the point in my soccer career that I didn't enjoy playing. I was miserable. I had been playing on a high-level club soccer team, but by the time I reached high school, all the joy I once got from playing soccer was stripped away from me. With my confidence being at an all-time low, I started rattling off reasons and excuses of why I didn't think I was good enough to play at the college level. My brother at that time was a standout basketball player at Albright University. He told me, "College is different than high school. Your success is tied 100% to your work ethic." At this time, it was the spring of my senior year of high school, and I had already turned down a chance to play at a university in Philadelphia. Kutztown immediately came to my mind because I had just visited a friend and fell in love with the beautiful campus and the college life that came with it. I remember telling my dad about Kutztown during that car ride and him asking, "Do you think you could play there?" My answer was, "I think so." So I took the chance, which is not like me, I'm very critical, and decided I was going to be a 2006 walk-on at Kutztown University. I was terrified and not sure what I was getting myself into, but I put in the work that summer and came to preseason in the best shape of my life. After making the team, I re-injured my back and couldn't work out for months. This setback was depressing and caused those negative feelings I had before to creep back into my mind. After having a discussion With my athletic trainer, and my parents, I realized it was best if I redshirted my freshman year. That redshirt year ended up being my biggest blessing. In the winter of 2007, Coach Eric came along and took over the women's soccer program. I remember walking to our first 5 a.m. workout in the snow and thinking, what did I get myself into? He told us from day one he was going to treat our program like a Division I soccer program, and that's exactly what he did. Everything from our training sessions to our new uniforms and gear, it was always the best of the best with Coach Eric. Thanks to my medical red shirt, I was able to have 4 successful years under him. He was the first coach to believe in me and give me a fair shot. So much confidence that he named me captain my sophomore year. A moment I'll never forget, and I'll never forget my teammates' faces when the upperclassmen saw I was captain. Coach Eric, I can't thank you enough for believing in me and giving me back my passion for soccer. I would also like to thank God because without him, none of this is possible. Thank you to my teammates for always being there for me on and off the field. From the highs to the lows, we always pushed each other to be the best we could be, and it shows in our success as a team. I would like to thank the committee for my nomination. I no longer have to hear my dad ask me, so Chelsea, when do you think you'll go into the Hall of Fame? My next shout out is to Jack. I think I spent more time in his office than I did my own dorm and my own houses. For those of you that don't know Jack, he is one of the athletic trainers here, and he literally kept my body together my senior year. From ice baths to stim and heat packs to telling Coach Eric I couldn't practice anymore if he wanted me healthy for games. Thank you, Jack, for everything you did for me. A thank you to my husband and my 5 beautiful kids. Thank you for being my best friend and sticking by me and always making sure we're taken care of. Thank you to my family, my siblings, Trevor, Justine, and Carly for always supporting me. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for supporting every decision I made, for being my biggest cheerleaders and being at every game. I'll never forget my dad changing his seats at the halftime of every game so he could be right next to me on defense. And my mom always bringing a little piece of home every time she came to a game. Whether it was baked goods, a magazine, candles, you always put a smile on my face and never let me forget how much I was loved. Thank you for all you've done for me. I love you both so much. And finally, thank you, Kutztown University, for the unforgettable memories, friendships, and the best 5 years of my life. Thank you.
For our next inductee, and we move our focus to men's basketball, we'd like to recognize another additional KU Athletics Hall of Famer who is with us in attendance tonight, and I was remiss to spotlight this individual earlier. So before we get into our next inductee, please welcome Bilal Salam, class of 2005 for the KU Athletics Hall of Fame. Please stand to be recognized. Thank you, Coach, for stopping by. Very busy this weekend, as are the rest of the coaches with the conference opening tournament going on at Keystone Arena. So thank you, Coach, and congratulations on your Hall of Fame honor. As we move along, there's going to be another men's basketball program member in the KU Athletics Hall of Fame. Our next inductee is Bobby Eberhart, class of 2006. Bobby was a 4-year starter, a team captain, an all-PSAC player, and a defensive standout for the Golden Bear basketball team. He is one of 25 players in school history to score 1,000 career points and was known as one of the league's top defenders, often guarding the opponent's top offensive threat. Here's a testimonial from his former coach, Bernie Driscoll, quoting, "It is with great pleasure that I have the opportunity to present Bobby Eberhart for induction into the Kutztown University Hall of Fame class of 2021. The impact that Bobby had on our basketball program is still measurable today. His leadership, hard work, determination, and sacrifice played an integral role in making the KU men's basketball program PSAC championship contenders in only 3 years. Bobby completes an outstanding 2001 recruiting class with Jeff Brickus and the aforementioned Bilal Salam as members as KU Hall of Fame. There is always the one former player that when you get a chance to talk or see with them again, it just brings a smile to your face and a joy to your heart, and that is Bobby. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for acknowledging Bobby and the effect that he had on this team, our basketball program, and the Kutztown University community. Bobby Eberhart is the most complete basketball player that I have coached during my 21-year tenure at Kutztown University. There is one player who is the glue by which the success of the team can be measured, and Bobby was that player. His accolades during his career at Kutztown University were many, but it does not come close to defining the impact that he had on our budding program. Here are a couple of things that we asked Bobby to do each game. Bobby guarded the opponent's best player every game, whether it was a smaller point guard, that was usually me, or a 6'7" power forward. He routinely kept the opponent's highest scoring player to well below their game average. Bobby continually was ranked as the best rebounding guard in the PSAC. Bobby was asked to make free throws at the end of our games to ensure victory. When the outcome of a game was still in question, it was Bobby who came up with a big defensive stop. Bobby is the only player to have played each position on the court during a game. He even had to play center for a few possessions in one game. It is with great pleasure and honor that I present Bobby Eberhart for induction into the Kutztown University Hall of Fame. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of Bobby's induction this evening into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is his former coach, Bernie Driscoll. Let's welcome into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame, Bobby Eberhart.
Thanks for the kind words, Coach. And if we could, I want to say congrats to everybody else, all the other inductees tonight. This is a big feat, and this is one thing, and of course my mom as well kept looking around waiting for that call. But this was one call when you get excited, and sometimes you don't really know what to say. So I did about 3 speeches. I looked at how much time they said we could have. One of them was 10 minutes, one was 7 minutes, one was 8 minutes. So this one I went with won't take me too long. But one of the first things I thought about was my first trip coming here to Kutztown. So scrawny kid decided to go to Kutztown University. My dad couldn't even say the name of the school. It was Cuts, whatever. He just knew I was going to college. So it was like, hey, pack them up, let's go. So threw me in the back of the van. We're riding, I live about an hour away from here, and it probably took me about 15 minutes, if you ask me. I was in the back very scared. We showed up. We start unloading, start unpacking. I make my way to my dorm. I go to open the door, can't get in the door. Then I knock into the guy who was in the room, and he ends up being a pretty big football player. So when he unpacks himself off his bed, he keeps getting taller and taller and taller, so I'm looking up at him like, hey, he looks down and says, hey, I'm Corey. And I'm like, I'm Bobby. You know, I try to put a little bit into it. So my dad comes over, you know, pushes me to the side a little bit, and he looks up at Corey, looks down, looks back up at Corey, looks over at me, and he points to me, looks back up at Corey and says, take care of my baby. Yeah, I mean, that was my first impression. I'm like, come on, Dad, I'm trying to be a tough guy too. So, but I will say, I appreciated that. Even Corey came to me and said, man, that's a powerful thing. And that is from which I come, a family who always wanted to take care of me. So first and foremost, my family who's all here today, thank you all for coming. We've all traveled in. There's a couple people I want to thank as well. Coach Driscoll, Coach York, you guys mean so much to me, man. It's so beautiful to see you. I appreciate the kind words. Bilal, thank you for coming to see me again, brother. Every time I get a hug from you, I feel like we're suiting back up again. I don't know if they'll let us, but we can try. We'll see what happens. But I will say Coach Driscoll was the toughest coach I had to play for. But the flip side of that, he cared the most from any coach that I played for. And he let that be known that I was a person, he was going to take care of me, but he's going to need some passion, he's going to need some heart. And he's right, he listed off those things I had to do. I remember when Jeff graduated and it was in his office and, all right, this is what I need you to do. I need you to guard this person. Okay, cool, coach, I got it. I need you to score too. We got a couple plays for it. Okay, coach, I got it. I need you to do this too. And I need you to do this too. I said, coach, I'm only one man. What you want me to do? He said, well, hey, I give it to you because I know you can do it. And coach, you always, the way you showed the confidence in me is what helped me suit up every day. Knowing that you had my back, I knew I could do whatever. So I appreciate you. Thank you very much. You guys have built a heck of a program. I'm glad we got it started. I know we get credit for that, but, man, it took you to continue on, move on, get more people in and build that program. So I can't let that go unsaid. Great job. My brothers are here today, and I knew this is when the tears were going to start coming, but I got it. I'm going to take care of it. So I'm the youngest. That's why they call me the baby, but I got an older brother. I got a middle brother. And, Pat, I appreciate everything you've done for me. You've taught me what hard work means. You taught me what dedication means. You taught me how to get up every day and go after it, that we have the opportunity to do so. My middle brother, Art, he's been waiting for this, so I'm going to give it to him. He's the one that played basketball with me when I was younger. He was bigger than me. He knocked me around. So later on, it just was like that unsaid thing, well, unless he was saying it, that he's why I'm here today. So, being that this is my bookend, I'm not suiting up no more. I'm going to give it to you. You are the reason why I'm standing up here. So I greatly appreciate the many days in the driveway, the living room, backyard, wherever we could shoot a ball, we were going to shoot a ball. I think we played in the house and somewhere else more than we actually played on the basketball court. We figured out how to play basketball. It was couches, over the curtains, whatever. We were going to play some ball. Mom wasn't too happy because the furniture was all rearranged and all that, but we got it done. And that brings me to my mom and dad, who, man, I don't know how you guys kept a car. The amount of miles you put on a vehicle to watch me dribble the ball was pretty crazy. There's plenty of times, Coach, we'd be on the West Coast, and it's us and them two. He would even say in the locker room, nobody else is coming. It's us and the Eberhart, so it's it. It's it. That's all we got. So you're going to get a couple of that's my babies and go get them, and that's about it, man. We didn't win too many games at that time, so they still came to watch me. So I greatly appreciate that, and I love you. I never could thank you enough for that. To my beautiful wife, who I met here at Kutztown, Risley Hall to be specific, I love you, baby. Our first kiss was on Main Street. But I tell you what, I met Andrea in college, and I wasn't like that much of a college basketball guy. And she kind of educated me and schooled me on college basketball. And it made me fall in love with the game all over again. And to do it with you, couldn't ask for anything better. So thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for all the nights that I came back upset because I didn't play well. You were always there to, coach me back in, make sure I was okay, and let me know that everything would be okay. So I greatly appreciate it, and I love you. And told you that speech wasn't that bad, right? I went through a couple, but that one was that bad. Thanks again. I greatly appreciate it. And to everybody else, congrats to you as well. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again, Bobby. Our next inductee is Darren Gorski, class of 2018. Darren was an All-American pitcher for the KU baseball program. He was named the PSAC Pitcher of the Year as a junior and holds the school record with a 2.37 career ERA. Darren went on to be drafted by the New York Mets, extending the baseball team's legacy into the major leagues. Here's a testimonial from his former coach, Chris Blum, quoting, "I still remember traveling to Scranton to see this high school junior that some coaches had told me about. It just so happened that a storm came through the area, so I had to wait a couple hours to see this kid pitch. Then I saw this tall, lanky pitcher strolling to the mound. He wasn't your prototypical pitcher in terms of stature, but I thought, let's just wait and see what he can do. He checked the first box in pitching, throw strikes with 3 different pitches. Now, I needed to see what he could do when he faced a good team. I needed to know how he handles a tough situation. So I had to wait and go see him throw some more games. He checked the second box in pitching: poise, attitude, and toughness. The third box in recruiting for me is a little different than most. How are the parents? So before I make an offer, I want to go get to know the family. So I waited for the mom or the dad to be that crazy parent when their kid is on the field. That moment never came. Easy box to check here, a first-class family. So now I make the offer, and I am anxious to get this kid. I put a lot of travel, time, and effort to recruit this kid, and I had to wait and wait until July of his senior year for him to make his decision. Thankfully, he finally chose Kutztown, and I got to see Darin transform from high school pitcher to conference starter to pro prospect. You have a Hall of Fame resume, a Hall of Fame career, a Hall of Fame family, and the wait is now over to induct you into the Kutztown Hall of Fame. Congrats, my man. I hope it was worth the wait. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of Darin's induction into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is his former coach, Chris Blum. Let's welcome into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame, Darren Gorski.
Good evening. Coach, thanks for the kind words. I'm sure my parents really appreciated that. So let me start by saying I've gotten the opportunity to play in a lot of different cities. I've coached a couple different places, even played in a couple of different countries. And some of my favorite memories on the baseball field happened right here as a Golden Bear. So this is definitely an honor for me. Also like to congratulate the other inductees of the 42nd Hall of Fame class. Very well deserved, everybody. Who was up here. First off, I don't know how I'm going to follow that speech, but everybody's well deserved to be here. I'd also like to take the time to congratulate the Legacy Award recipients. The work you guys have done in female sports here at Kutztown can't be understated, so thank you very much for that. Dr. Teske, thank you very much for the Leisure and Sports Studies program. Before tonight, I didn't realize that was your doing, but that was my major, so I appreciate all your work there. I'd also like to take the time to thank the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. This is quite an honor, and I thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. I'd also like to thank the KU Foundation for putting this event on. I know with the pandemic, things get a little crazy, but you guys have jumped over some serious hurdles to make this happen, so thank you very much for putting that on. I'd also like to take the time to thank God, because without him, I wouldn't be standing up here in front of you guys today. I want to thank my wife, Jen, and my three boys, Hudson, Carson, and Graham, for their everlasting love and support. Followed me down a lot of different roads, but they've always been there to push me and to make me a better man each and every day. Funny story about Jen, we started dating my sophomore year here at Kutztown, and she didn't know anything about baseball at all, to the point where she actually went out and bought Baseball for Dummies book. She actually thought I was a batting practice pitcher for the team, which would effectively make me probably the first batting practice pitcher inducted into the Kutztown Hall of Fame. So I thank you guys for that. I want to thank my mom and dad for everything they've done for me, instilling hard work and determination, as well as reminding me to stay humble even when things are going really well. I want to thank my dad for taking the time out from work, often working late into the evening, but then coming home and not being too tired to catch a bullpen so I could work on what I needed to do. I'd like to thank my mom for always making sure we made it to practice, making sure we made it to different games, but also not caring when we tore up her backyard to build a baseball field one summer. So thank you, Mom, for that. You're the reason I'm standing up here today. I want to thank my younger brother, Devin, for just reminding me out on that baseball field that just because you're younger doesn't mean you're an easy out. So he always made me work hard to make that happen. So thanks for instilling that in me. I want to thank Coach Bloom and all of his time and effort put forth in bringing me here and just having faith in me. And like he said, lanky left-hander. Wasn't sure what college was going to look like for me, but he had faith in me and pushed me to be who I am. So thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate that. And I know I don't have many of them here, but my teammates, for for always having my back on and off the field. I think anybody who's in this room understands college athletics and how hard that can be, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. So having a good base of teammates behind you is definitely key. So thanks to all my former teammates for that. Proverbs 16:9 in the Bible says, "The heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps." I definitely believe that's true. As Coach Bloom would tell you, my senior year was the time when I made my decision to come here. And to be completely honest with you, not much unlike Chelsea, I came here because of the campus. I really knew nothing about the baseball team other than I like Coach Bloom and his attitude towards the team and towards the game. But about the team, I really didn't know that much. But what I walked into here was a winning atmosphere and a culture that I can't really describe to you. I didn't know what I was looking for, and I think I found exactly what I needed. Two of the most memorable moments here at Kutztown happened my freshman year. We were ranked first in the nation in 2007, which was the first time for the program as a whole, and definitely a very exciting time to be a part of the team. The second was when we won the regional title right out here at North Campus Field. That clinched us a spot in the Division II College World Series in 2007, and that was one of the most memorable times of my career. But these two events as a whole set the tone for the rest of my career. I think without that winning culture, I wouldn't be standing up here talking to you today. Those guys definitely pushed me to be better than they were, which wasn't very easy. We had a lot of good players on that team. The leadership that they instilled in me was something that I aspired to replicate every day as a Golden Bear through the rest of my career. Looking back, the lessons I learned on this baseball field have helped me in life in so many different ways, as a father, as a husband, and as a man of God. So I thank you so much for this honor, and thank you all for coming out and taking the time. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Darin. Our next inductee is Ziad Haddad, class of 2018. Ziad is a two-time national champion and one of the most decorated wrestlers of all time for the Golden Bears. He won 82 matches in 3 years at KU, fifth most all-time, was the Division II National Wrestler of the Year, and most impressively, went 55 straight bouts without being taken down, while being ranked number 1 in the country for 507 consecutive days. Here's a testimonial from his former coach, Rob Fisher, quoting, "It's an honor and a privilege to be able to introduce Ziad Haddad for induction into the 2021 Kutztown University Hall of Fame. This truly is a great pleasure for me. Z is not only our wrestling program's greatest wrestler, but he has also become one of my closest friends and confidants. So it's a very special and emotional night for me as his coach, mentor, and friend. I am so proud to see the man Ziad has become. He and his beautiful wife, Shelly, are both public school teachers. They have 4 sons, all are under the age of 6. Needless to say, Ziad's and Shelly's lives are full of fun, laughter, joy, and very little sleep. Watching Ziad wrestle was truly a thing of beauty. That might be hard to believe, since Z was a 250-pound heavyweight wrestler, but he really was a work of art out there on the wrestling mat. He had an amazing combination of strength, speed, and power. His technique was flawless. When he got on a roll, he was literally unstoppable. But what truly made Ziad so unique was his wrestling intelligence. He simply wrestled smarter than everyone else at any weight class or any division. I have been incredibly fortunate and blessed to have been able to coach 3 national champions in my career. Joe Kemmer won 2 NCAA championships in 2007 and 2009. My current heavyweight, Andrew Dunn, won his NCAA title in 2019 and has a chance to match Ziad's 2 titles this season. These guys had amazing national championship seasons. The enormity of Z's wrestling accomplishments are, quite frankly, mind-blowing. During Ziad's career here at Kutztown, he won 2 NCAA national championships and was a 3-time NCAA All-American. He has to be the most decorated athlete in the history of Kutztown University. During Ziad's 2 championship seasons, he went undefeated. If that isn't impressive enough, he also did not give up a single takedown in both of those undefeated seasons. That amazing feat is almost unmatched in the history of NCAA wrestling. That's like a baseball pitcher winning every game and pitching a shutout in every win. It really is that difficult and impressive. Ziad was voted National Wrestler of the Year in 2014. He was also named the nation's most dominant wrestler in 2015. For 2 straight seasons, there was no other wrestler in the entire country who came close to matching his dominance. Ziad has done so much for Kutztown University wrestling. He raised the standard of what is expected in our program. He has helped create a winning culture that will last for a long time. Ziad's incredible career has helped catapult our program into a national power. Since his career ended, we have been nationally ranked every single season. Since his last title season in 2015, our team has earned 11 additional NCAA All-Americans and 1 additional national champion. The standard of excellence continues to go up every year, and so much of that is directly related to Ziad. These days, Z continues to help elevate our program to new heights. He continues to work with me and the team as a volunteer assistant coach. I can't tell you how great it is to have him by my side, helping me coach and mentor our wrestlers. Kutztown University has had many incredible athletes over the years. I have had the opportunity to coach 3 of the very best this university has ever produced. In my humble opinion, Ziad Haddad could be at the very top of the mountain in the history of Kutztown University athletics. He will always be a legend at our great university. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of Ziad's induction this evening into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is his former coach who wrote that testimonial, Rob Fisher. Let's welcome into the KU Athletic Hall of Fame, Ziad Haddad, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm honored and humbled to be standing in front of you tonight. I'd like to start off by thanking my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me the opportunity to be here in front of you. I'd like to thank Kutztown University staff, starting with the president, director of athletics, the Kutztown University Foundation, for allowing me to accept this award. I have a lot of thoughts when I think about my time here at Kutztown University, because it wasn't my first college stop. I came to Kutztown after having started my career at the University of North Carolina out of high school, after a 2-year hiatus from college athletics and academics altogether. I'd like to thank the coaches, the trainers, the staff in the wrestling program and the athletic department who allowed me to have that opportunity to come back. I'd also like to thank my wife, who at the time I had met in high school, and she met me when I was on top of the mountain, so to speak. I had won a state title in high school and a national championship, and I went to the University of North Carolina, sort of no valleys in my resume at the time. And then I had a couple successful years there, but tumultuous, to say the least. I just wasn't ready. So I came home, and I ended up working a labor job, sort of putting in my time, and I thought this is going to be my life. And then I ended up rekindling my relationship with my wife, who was a teacher at the time. And she convinced me to go back to school, get my teaching degree. So then, lo and behold, there's a university 20 minutes from me, Kutztown University. I live in Orfield, Pennsylvania, not too far across 78. And they also have a wrestling program. And to tell you the truth, I didn't have much intention on wrestling because for some reason I had correlated, well, I didn't have such success in college with wrestling, and that wasn't necessarily the case. I just didn't have success because I wasn't committed to having success. And as everybody here can attest to, you get out of it what you put into it. Wrestling is one of those sports that speaks volumes to that fact. Well, when I came on campus, I met Coach Fisher, and we instantly had a connection. Unfortunately, I didn't attend school that year. I took another year to sort of collect my thoughts. And Coach Fisher had told me I could come here for free, no problem, because I was a decorated recruit that he could get on the team. Fast forward a year later, when I said, okay, Coach, I'm ready to come now, he said, okay, because Coach Fisher's that kind of guy, accepting you into the program, but he made me earn my way. And it was the beginning of me earning my way back, which is what I'm so thankful for this university and that opportunity. I ended up having to pay my way in that beginning semester. And it is one of the things I'm most thankful for was because for the first time, then I was on my own, really having to earn it. At North Carolina on a full scholarship, I didn't have to pay for anything, so you didn't lose anything. Now, if I wasn't going to make it, I was going to also not make it, but then have some debt attached along with it. And that commitment level changed who I was at the time. I began to get back in shape. I began to train hard. And I began to rediscover the person that I was when I left high school and was at the beginning of the University of North Carolina. All along, balancing a part-time job and being a fiancé to my beautiful wife, who we end up later marrying. Trying to juggle those things in wrestling, I went to Coach Fisher and I said to him, Coach, I'm ready to commit for this second semester, but I can't work because I want to win a national title. And Coach Fisher took care of me and took care of that tuition that second half of the year after I had proved myself and proved my commitment. Made sure that he was going to invest in something that was going to produce out on the mat, and not just in the mat, but in life. Those of you who know Coach Fisher will say he's one of the kindest, most loving coaches at the university. Will take a chance on just about anybody. But his sternness with me in the beginning was something that I still am grateful for to this day. Once we had that first year and I ended up becoming an All-American, I even doubled my commitment. And I remember words from my grandfather at the time. He said, if you want to win, you need to double your effort. He didn't know much about wrestling. He just would essentially look at it as me trying to just beat the other guy, however I could. He just said, you got to double your effort. So I said to Coach, I'm all in. I'm going to double my effort. During that time, my wife took that same commitment with me. Said, let's stop working. I'll take care of the bills. She was teaching. We had a mortgage. We ended up getting married later during my career while I was wrestling. In between winning my first and second national championship, we got married. We actually got married the weekend after my first national title. I had a shiner on my eye, and she was like, I hope this works out because it's going to be a solemn next week. And I said, don't worry, babe, I got you. I'd like to thank my kids for making me the father that I am. And I'd like to thank my family for showing me the way. The one thing that I took out of all the trials and tribulations and being on top of the mountain, seeing the valley, and coming back onto the top, and the one thing that I hope to pass on was the one thing that my family gave me, my father gave me, my uncle gave me, my mom gave me, was that they always believed in me. They believed in me whether I was on top or whether I was on bottom. They believed in me that I was the best, regardless whether I stumbled, whether I was doing well. They kept me grounded when I needed to be grounded. I kept my spirits up when I needed a little pep talk. But that gift of that unwavering belief in you is something that I, as a father, to my 4 boys in the back, I try to instill in them every day. And it's the one thing that I hope I can leave you with is that belief in yourself requires 0 talent. It requires no height, no speed, no agility. That you can overcome mountains and obstacles that are in your way as long as you believe. That's where I'd like to come back to my faith and say, through those dark times, I was challenged, and I wanted to make sure that I expressed that to you. I'm thankful for those challenges now, standing in front of you, because at the end of the day, we're only as good as the storms that we have overcome. I'd like to thank everybody and congratulate the rest of the Hall of Fame and Legacy Award winners. God bless you all.
Our next inductee is Kayla Jones, class of 2012. Kayla is the most decorated bowler in KU history, fittingly earning the school's first ever Women's Bowling Hall of Famer. She was a 3-time All-American and a 2-time National Player of the Year. She helped lead KU to unprecedented heights, earning a trip to the NCAA Championship in Michigan. Here's a testimonial from her former coach, Joseph Ambrose. It is my honor this evening to be here to help induct all these great student athletes into the Kutztown University Hall of Fame, including Kayla Jones, the first ever women's bowling inductee. Kayla came to KU in 2008 and quickly made her presence known by earning the anchor position early in her career. KU bowling began in 2007, and with Kayla coming here in 2008, we added an elite player to a very talented recruiting class that season with 3 existing starters that got us to be nationally ranked for the first time that same season. With KJ's help, Kutztown won the inaugural season of the NEC Conference and were the top seed for the championships. We would eventually fall to FDU in the finals, but it was the start of a great career, as Kayla was named both Conference and National Rookie of the Year. As we go forward to 2010, when KJ was a junior, Kutztown qualified for the NCAA Nationals for the first time. In the same season, KU also qualified for the USBC Nationals as well, becoming the first Division II school in the nation to accomplish that in the same season. We had, as it turned out, 4 future All-Americans on that team, but Kayla was our highest average player, our anchor, and we would not have been able to do that without her. Throughout Kayla's career, she made several all-tournament teams for individual events and was also an All-American on 3 occasions. KJ was our captain that year and led us to yet another trip to the USBC Nationals in Nebraska. Along with her accomplishments on the lanes, she was also a member of SAC while at KU and graduated with a degree in leisure and sports studies. Her bowling career did not end with Kutztown, however. She then became the head women's bowling coach at Long Island University in Brooklyn, a position she still holds. Kayla has also been president of the National 10-Pin Coaches Association, been on the NCAA Regional Committee, and now sits on the NCAA National Committee as regional chair for the Northeast. She has also been Coach of the Year in the NEC during her tenure at LIU, which she has led to being a nationally ranked program. This is a great night for Kayla and her family and for Kutztown Bowling to help give others something to strive for and join her in the Hall of Fame. I congratulate her and am very thankful that she came to KU. Well done, Kayla. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of Kayla's induction this evening into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is her former coach who wrote that testimonial, Joseph Ambrose. Let's welcome into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame, Kayla Jones.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Coach, for presenting me. And I wrote down here, thank you for not embarrassing me too much. So really, thank you for not embarrassing me too much. It's great to have you here with me because without you, I wouldn't be here. Congratulations to all of the inductees tonight and to your families, teammates, coaches that have helped you get here. I know we could sit here for hours swapping stories. Thank you to the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, President, Alumni Relations, the KU Foundation, and everyone involved in the athletic department over the years. Specifically for tonight, Cheryl, Brian, Amanda, Mary, Aaron, and Matt, thank you for answering all of my emails. You sure do know how to make a girl feel special. And to my group that I cannot thank enough, my family. Tonight I have here my parents, my grandmother, my fiance, my aunt and my uncle, my adoptive aunt and uncle who took me in during my college days, my first college roommate, my coach, a former competitor, and current members of the bowling team here at KU. Without all of you, I wouldn't be the athlete or human I am today. From the crazy travel plans to the endless phone calls, from the shoulder to cry on and the many celebrations, I would not have gotten to college, through college, or life after college without your continued support. In the fall of 2008, I walked onto campus as an elementary education major and a part of the first recruited class of the women's bowling team. In the spring of 2012, I graduated with honors from the Leisure and Sports Studies major as a Leisure and Sports Studies major and a member of the nationally ranked women's bowling program. This year, I started my 10th season coaching, a career that I may not have known that I wanted without my time as an NCAA athlete. I talk about my experiences here daily with my own nationally ranked women's bowling team. Talk about full circle, right? As you may know, last year student athletes were given the opportunity for a 5th year of eligibility due to COVID. I sat with seniors who had planned to graduate and had conversations about staying. One of them asked me, "Coach, what would you have done in this situation?" I answered in under a second saying, "I would absolutely take it." I would not have been able to answer that quickly without the impact that this place made on my head and my heart. I truly would do it over and over again if I could. It's an honor to be selected into the Hall of Fame, but honestly, it's a bigger honor to call this place a home, a place that I always can come back to and feel welcome and relive some of the best memories of my life. A place that challenged me, built me, brought me lifelong friends, and allowed me to face life with courage and confidence. Coach Ambrose and the athletics department took a chance on me and a sport that means so much to me, and I will forever be grateful for my time as an NCAA student athlete here at Kutztown. Thank you.
Our final inductee tonight is Charlie Young, class of 1966. Charlie was a two-sport standout in the 1960s, competing on both the basketball and tennis teams. He was the school's top rebounder at the time at more than 13 per game and went on to play semi-pro basketball. He was team captain on the tennis team and won 33 matches as the team's #1 player. Charlie went on to coach the Fleetwood High School basketball team for 10 years. Here's a testimonial from a former player, Jeffrey Wolf. I've known Charlie for over 50 years, and I'm so proud to be here tonight for his induction into the Kutztown University Hall of Fame. One could easily recognize his high levels of dedication and prowess as a player, teacher, and coach. As a player, he was highly intense and very competitive. He carried these qualities into his teaching and his coaching days, where he led his teams to district titles and many years of state qualifying seasons. I congratulate you, Charlie, on your well-deserved induction today, which is just another one of your many successes in life. Here to assist Dr. Hawkinson with the presentation of Charlie's induction this evening into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame is his former player who wrote that testimonial, Jeffrey Wolf. Let's welcome into the KU Athletics Hall of Fame, Charlie Young.
If they ever ask you if you want to be the first or last speaker, don't pick last. But I'm glad you all stayed to hear my speech, and I'd like to start out congratulating all the other members and hearing their accomplishments at this great school. It was just great to hear all that. I went to school back quite a while ago, and I graduated and started in 1962 and graduated in 1966. Things were quite different then as far as athletics, the facilities, and everything else. And when you come back, you can see, wow, we came a long way to where we are now. And I'd really like to congratulate all the other people who are honored here and the legacy people. It's a great honor. It's a great honor for me to be here. I'd like to speak a little bit about the people that get you here. You don't get here by yourself. You really need people to help you get there. And I want to start out a little bit with my grandfather. My grandfather, he was one of my first coaches, and he always told me, he said, Charlie, you always have to outwork the other people. You have to try harder. You have to do more that you can do. And when I became a coach myself, I figured I never wanted to be outworked. I was always going to be prepared, and hopefully that helped our teams lead to success. It also helped me lead to success in my life. And I am really happy tonight to have so many of my family members here. I have my wife, Gail, who I met here also at Kutztown University, who was one of my biggest fans throughout my career of many, many basketball games she had to attend. Even after I graduated from college, I played for several teams, then played for a semi-professional team, the Exeter Black Knights, who we went on to win the national championship. We played teams from all over the country, and it was quite an honor. I got a chance to play with a couple high school parade All-Americans were on my team. And I got a chance to play and cover people who were in the NBA the next season, so it was quite an honor. With my family being here, I have two of my daughters came all the way from Kansas City, and they brought two of my grandsons with them. My one sister came from, and her husband came from New Jersey. My other sister came from Virginia Beach, and my other daughter came from as far away as Fleetwood. And my grandsons are here, and it's so nice to have your family, because your family really has to be a big part of what you do and a big part of the program. When I came here to Kutztown University, I had played on a high school basketball team where we were 23-2. We played all the way almost to the state title. In tennis, I played number one for 3 straight years, but I wasn't recruited. I came to play basketball as a walk-on. So we used to play a lot of basketball before the season even started. We'd be over in the gym, and I got talking to some of the other players who were on the varsity from before, and they said to me, they had an open tryout. They said, well, try out. And one guy gave me a good tip. He said, Charlie, he said, if you want to get noticed right away, he said, what you do is you go out, throw the ball up against the backboard, go up, grab it, and two-hand jam it. They'll see you. And that's what I did. And as a freshman, they gave me a uniform. So I was really happy about that. And I got a chance to play for 4 years. I played for 2 really great coaches. I played for Walt Risley. Unfortunately, I couldn't have any of my college coaches introduce me because they're not around anymore. But I played for Walt Risley, a wonderful man, and I learned a lot about coaching from him. I also, my other coach for basketball was Win Evans. And again, I learned a lot about basketball for him. And I used some combinations of the two of them, plus other coaches I met to develop my philosophy as a coach. And you heard one of my former players say a few words about our team, and I really appreciated that. I did make the team, and I played for 4 years. And one of the fortes that I had was being able to jump, believe it or not. And so I really did get a lot of rebounds, and that was part of my game. And, you know, I never knew what a double-double was until these days. And then I realized in college I was having a double-double every game. So, you know, it was quite an honor to be able to play for this university. And we played on a tile floor, which I don't know if you ever played on a tile floor, but that was something to get used to as well. Then I went out for the tennis team, and what I realized in the tennis team was we didn't have a coach. What we had was a faculty advisor, and I'd like to thank Jason White, who was our faculty advisor. And without him, we would not have had a tennis team. So the first year we had the captain of the team, who was a senior. He was the coach of the team. And he played number one, and I let him play number one. But after about the first 4 matches, he was 0-4, and I was 4-0, and he said, "Charlie, how would you like to play number one?" And I tell you, if you ever know anything about tennis, when you move from number 2 even up to number 1, there is a tremendous jump in ability. In fact, the one match I had to play a guy from King's College who was Pan American champ. And I'd love to tell you I whipped him, but I was happy to win one game. But the experience was that I played number 1 then, and then I played number 1 for the next 3 years, which was really a kind of an honor for me, and I was really happy I was able to do that. But we played with wooden tennis rackets. I don't even know if people even know what they look like anymore. The game was quite a bit slower and quite a bit different than it is today. But as things evolve, things get better, and I'm really happy that I got a chance to be chosen to be in this, and I'd like to thank the committee and thank everyone involved, and I'd like to thank Mrs. Wolf as well, who was my fan for so long and trying to help me get here. So thank you very much. Thank you.
What a night. Congratulations to all of the inductees and award recipients here this evening. It's been a special time, and like many of the speakers have said, being able to get this program in person this year is great to see as we continue to move forward. So for our closing remarks here tonight, I would like to introduce the Director of Athletics here at Kutztown University, Renee Heller.
I'm honored and grateful to have the opportunity tonight to be a part of such an amazing event. I'd like to first thank the KU Foundation and the Hall of Fame Committee for their organization and hosting of this event. Thank you to all the families here today, the teammates, the coaches, former and current, and all the friends and families that came out to make tonight such a memorable night. Hearing the accolades, the testimonials, and listening to your speeches, it's not surprising why you are all the newest members of the Kutztown University Athletic Hall of Fame. Your performances on the field, in the court, the mat, the lanes, they're all instrumental in building the strong tradition that is Kutztown athletics today. As a female collegiate athlete, former female collegiate athlete, and now an athletic administrator, I will be forever grateful for the work of those that came before me. Dr. Carol Teske and Margie Kantner, their determination for inclusiveness and equity were integral in creating opportunities for not only myself, but for many of our programs here at Kutztown University. The past 20 months have been trying for all of us, including our student athletes. Witnessing their perseverance, their determination, has been something truly special. As President Hawkinson touched on in his opening, the dedication of our student athletes has been evident through their performance on the field and in the classroom. As we move to the championship season for our fall sports and the regular season play for our winter sports, we welcome you all back at any time to show support. We hope to see many of you out tomorrow as our inductees will be on the field during the coin toss to kick off the PSAC football championship as we take on Slippery Rock at noon, 12:05. Sorry, TV time. Thank you again, and congratulations to everyone, the families, the friends, our inductees and Legacy Award winners tonight. Have a safe evening, and go Golden Bears.